Welcome to a hard look at sports. I'm Mel Cole with Ed Regine. Well, we're in the heart of the Winter Olympics season, and I was watching the wonderfully finite, surgically precise sport of curling.
Hold it. Let me stop you right there, because you're making me want to gag. Curling, a sport? Are you kidding me? Have you seen this thing? Somebody's pushing a crock pot down the ice. There's a couple of guys sweeping. How is that a sport?
Ed, what you are missing is the skill level in diminishing the logical coefficient of the drag on the stone, which you diminutively referred to as a crock pot. This is a game of precise skill and sports ability.
I understand all that. I understand they're trying to eliminate any debris on the ice so that the stone slides more smoothly and the gravitational pull and the exertion of the pushing of it. I get all that. But you know what? It's not a sport. I don't care how you cut it. It's a crock pot. There's guys sweeping. That's not a sport. That's housework. And furthermore, we're going to talk about the Olympics, the one-man luge. You want to call that a sport? Where a guy's laying down? He looks like an auto mechanic on that little thing they lay down to get under the car. How is that a sport?
Well, the use of his calf muscles and thigh muscles to manipulate the luge, Ed.
The guy's going down 97 miles an hour. How's he manipulating anything? It's the only sport that you could actually practice while you're laying in bed. Are you kidding me? And I'll tell you something else. Golf is not a sport either. How do you like that one?
I vociferously disagree because you don't understand what goes on in the golf swing, the torque and stress on the body, the skill level, the rotating of the hips, the velocity of the swing. This is tremendous athleticism and skill.
I get all that. The weight distribution of the legs, the feet, the bending of the knees, the distance to the calculating the distance. I understand all that. But these guys are not athletes. They could not excel in any other sport. You got Phil Mickelson, who I enjoy Phil. He's a good guy, but he wears a wristwatch when he's playing golf. Who wears a wristwatch when they're performing an athletic game? Who?
That just shows you how precise his swing is. To not be disturbed, to have his forearm and wrist not be disturbed by a foreign object on it. That's like a handicap, and he's not even given any points for it. I think it's phenomenal, and you've made the point of showing how athletic golf is.
Golf is ridiculous. And another thing about golf, they call the putting area the green. Why? Everything is green. When you get out of the car, you're on the green. It's ridiculous. These guys are not athletes. I don't care what you say. John Daly is not an athlete. These guys are guys that just hit a ball around with a stick.
Ed, I don't think you understand the tradition and beauty of golf. It descends from the high hills of Scotland, when busy men, would take a few moments in their day to come together and commiserate and talk and play a game at the same time. It's a wonderfully civilized activity.
It's a stupid game. It was a bunch of goat farmers out in a field somewhere, and they were bored and they didn't know what to do, so one of them picked up a stick and hit a rock, and the other guy says, "Oh, let me try that," and that's how this stupid game came about. It's a dumb game. It's not a sport. It's a game. I'll give it that much. It's a game, but not a sport. You want to talk about a sport? I'll tell you a sport. Football. Now there's a sport. You can get injured, you can get a concussion, you can get your bones broken. There's mentality involved. You have to have a certain mindset. There's testosterone. There's competition. There's athletic ability. There's so much going on. That's a sport.
I agree with you. But that sport is being ruined. All the skills and the ability that you just alluded to are being diminished by this idiotic, excessive celebrating. Anytime something good happens, a field goal, an extra point, a safety, somebody is jumping into stands, dancing. This is not Dancing with the Stars. This is not choreography. It's football. It's everything you just said.
These guys work hard. They practice in 100-degree temperature, 2-3 workouts a day. They're in the weight room. They're sacrificing. They're making themselves as physically fit and as strong as possible to perform at peak efficiency. And if they score a touchdown, which is their ultimate goal, they're not allowed to celebrate? Are you kidding me? You cannot celebrate?
Ed, I'm not saying that you shouldn't celebrate, but there's a time and a place for everything. In football, you should celebrate. You know when? when you don't disrupt the game. When the game is won, there's a wonderful ritual that goes on. The players take a bucket of Gatorade, and in their ecstasy of victory, they thrust it upon the coach,
That
on
is
his
the
head.
dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. You're rewarding a coach for winning a game by dousing him in sticky Gatorade. It's cold, it's wet, his clothes are ruined, his hair's sticky. What kind of a celebration is that? No one ever celebrates like that. You don't see Robert De Niro at the Oscars go up and get his award, and what do? The best boy and the key grip come out and they douse him with a bucket of Gatorade? That's ridiculous. It doesn't. They should do away with the Gatorade.
Well,
it's overdone.
Well, I'll tell you one thing they should do away with in football, and that's this excessive, uncivilized bullying. What Richie Incognito did to Jonathan Martin, to intimidate him, this poor man.
Okay, before you start crying, let me just say something. Jonathan Martin is 6 feet 5 inches tall. Okay? He weighs 320 pounds. Anybody that size should not worry about being bullied. I don't care who it is. And I don't care who's doing the bullying. This man is an NFL lineman. How could he possibly be bullied?
Ed, you don't know what's inside this man. There's a little boy in there, possibly. Maybe a little boy that was yelled at and intimidated. A sensitive little boy trapped in a big man's body. And he was hurt by this ugly bullying, unnecessary.
My heart is bleeding for Jonathan Martin. If he's so sensitive, he should have tried ballet, not football, okay? And let me tell you something else. That Paul Brown, you know Paul Brown, you know?
One of the great figures in the history of football. He created the Cleveland Browns, owned them, coached them.
Yeah, what an egotistical maniac. He owns them, he coaches them, and he names the team after them. Why didn't he put a logo on the helmet? It's the only team in the NFL without a logo.
Because it would diminish the dignity of what this man created, this creative football genius.
Well, Paul Brown is no longer with us, so I say put something brown on the helmet. Maybe a paper bag, a UPS outfit, something. Make it look like something. It's ridiculous. And another thing about football. Now, you know I'm a big football fan.
I know.
And there's some rules I don't quite understand. But this tailgating, this has to stop. This is out of control. It's out of control. These guys get up at 4 in the morning, they load their truck with goodies, they get to the park at 6 o'clock at the stadium, and they start barbecuing, cooking hot dogs and sausage and all kinds of stuff, and they're disrupting everything. People are trying to come in with their families and park, they're blocking everything up, they're causing it's a disaster.
This
is
is
a disaster.
a celebratory, cathartic release of the frustrations that people go through in the real world every day. They can come together in an uninhibited manner and celebrate the love and loyalty they have for the team that is representing their city.
I say it's a distraction, it's a disruption, and if I was Paul Allen, the owner of the Seattle Seahawks who won the Super Bowl, I would say no more tailgating. It has to stop.
Well, that's one thing I do love about baseball. Baseball has now become a highly evolved, cultured game. I love going to the stadium and ordering some sushi, some fine wine.
Oh, so you're one of those guys.
Well,
You're one of those guys. You show up in the 3rd inning, you leave in the 7th inning, you don't care if the guy's pitching a perfect game, you want to beat the traffic so that you can go on to your next little whatever.
maybe the theater.
Oh, maybe the theater. Well, why didn't you go to the theater in the first place? You come to a ballpark, you order a hot dog, beer, peanuts, popcorn, candy, something. That's baseball.
No, that's for people tailgating at football games. Baseball is a relaxed game. Have sushi, have wine, maybe some filet mignon in an owner's booth. It's a wonderful pastime for the civilized.
Yeah, it might be a wonderful pastime for the civilized, but the poor guy that's buying the tickets, he's not getting a chance to sit up there and eat sushi and drink wine and all that. He's got to sit with the regular people, and that's what he goes to the game for. The excitement of being with the fans, the mixing of the fans, the charisma and the bonding with other fans and rooting together as a unit. That's what's important, not sitting in some cushy couch with a glass of white wine. And let me tell you something else. There's no more loyalty in baseball. I'm sick of it. No more loyalty. This Albert Pujols guy, for example, he jumped to the Angels for what? For another $5 or $10 million? He abandoned the Cardinal fans. He just took the money and ran. Here's a guy that was adored by the Cardinal fans. They loved him. They bought the hats, the jerseys, the jacket, everything. And what does he do? He up and leaves for a few bucks more. Where's the loyalty?
Ed, Baseball is not about loyalty. Baseball is about helping yourself if you are a player. This is the last bastion of unrestrained free market capitalism in America. The man got what the market was willing to give him. Are you some kind of communist, Ed?
No.
Come on.
No, I'm not a communist, and I believe in capitalism, but I also believe in loyalty. And I'm going to give an example. Derek Jeter. Here's a guy that came up with the Yankees. He stayed with the Yankees. He's going to retire next year as a Yankee. He could have made more money elsewhere.
He should have. He should
He had
have.
loyalty.
You look out for number one first.
You respect loyalty.
Let me tell you something else. All these fans, you're worried about buying their paraphernalia. I know what you're thinking, that they threw this money out, that Albert Pujols ran away and left them holding worthless paraphernalia. We've had that discussion, and I have an answer for you now.
Yeah, go ahead.
These people should have done their homework. Self-reliance is important. They owed it to themselves to find out how many years he had left on his contract before they bought those jerseys and baseball caps.
Are you serious? These people are less informed. They don't know anything about a contract. They don't know about arbitration.
Self-reliance.
Self-reliance, baloney. They want to go to a ball game and enjoy the ball game. And they revered Albert Pujols, and he left them for more money. No loyalty.
Personal responsibility.
Loyalty is what's important.
They should look in those contracts.
Remember,
Find
folks,
out how many years he has left.
loyalty is important. We'll see you next time at A Hard Look on Sports.
I'm Mel Cole.
I'm Ed Regine.
He had a-